Think we're okay, Joel? Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and begin May 6, 2025, Mayor and Council Work Session. And our first item is, you notice we have some special people in the audience today. Y'all show up great. The proclamation, this is for National Public Works Week. I'm going to hold off just a second while some more of our people come in. Morning. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of Villa Rica. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Villa Rica to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association also, be it now resolved, I, Mayor Leslie McPherson, do hereby designate the week of May 16 through 24, 2025, as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with the representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of Villa Rica to be affixed. All right, guys, come on up. We're going to do a picture. Whoops, sorry. Who's next in command of your house? Otherwise, I'll just.
Oh, here comes Al. He can hold it. You just can't talk. Okay. All right. If y'all, half of you will move over on this side. And then four. I'm so sorry. Y'all are like cruise ship. Hey, Courtney, how are you? I'm good. I'm a fan on here.
You don't have a full appreciation for these guys sometime until something's wrong on the road, or all of a sudden your water isn't coming through, or a pipe bursts, or whatever that might be. So, in a lot of ways, y'all are the unsung heroes, right, until we need you. So, we appreciate what you do. We'll get a picture and... Wait, you can't be back there. Come up here. We know who really runs the show.
Thank you, sir.
Administratively.
We were all trying to get behind Sandy.
I feel like you're the, okay. Are we good?
I'm too close to you, aren't I?
Next to Myrtle, next to Cindy. Y'all work with each other on hot trucks all the time.
We can turn sideways.
Yeah, that's better.
Does that work?
Ready? One, two,
Get you all back to work, right?
Sure. Hey, see y'all our big man?
I No, I love it. You see, I'm matching Tiffany. I was told that. Are you? Yeah. I got the
Okay, let's see. Item number 1, under governing body, qualifying dates for the 2025 general election. Ms. Campbell.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'm Teresa Campbell, City Clerk. The state sets the qualifying period to begin the third Monday in August of election year. Historically, typically in modern memory, the city of Villa Rica has chosen to do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, beginning at 8:30 in the morning at City Hall on Monday, August the 18th, and then closing out Wednesday, August 20th at 4:30 p.m., which would be the third day. They do have to be consecutive, so if it pleases you, then we will stick with that typical schedule.
Any questions by council? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 1? All right.
And y'all get me through 3 items.
Okay, so item 2, municipal election superintendent. That's new, isn't it? Kind of?
Sort of. So in our ordinance, in the background section, it's explained that the city council shall by resolution annually appoint a municipal election superintendent. It also states that we will comply with the state law, and in the state law, it says that if you do not name in a public meeting who the election superintendent will be, then it will be the city clerk. So we have fallen into that section. So this year I bring it to you as just to officially name and have it in an official meeting.
Any questions by council? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 2? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And number 3, you're also handling GMA District 4 officers for 2025-26, and we are in District 4.
Yes, we are in District 4 of the Georgia Municipal Association. Typically, this has been brought to you by the city manager, but this year, given the interim status, then I said that I would present this. It is really just a housekeeping. If you are good with the ballot that is attached, then I will submit this to GMA by their cutoff date.
And we have one of the candidates is one of our local people at mayor out of Temple.
Yes.
That's going to be, I think they call him a chairman, not president, chairman. Anyone opposed? Well, questions from council? Anyone opposed, excuse me, to approving the ballot for the GMA officers as consent item number 3? Yeah. All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Drummond, I think you have the next one. Discussion of new appointments to VRDA.
All right, I'm not sure that I had this section, but, so currently, all the positions on the VRDA, have expired. So they're all holdovers, and according to Georgia law, come July they can only hold over for 6 months. So July 1st, there needs to be reappointments or appointments made before that date. There's been a lot of discussions, at least at the staff level, about combining DDA and VRDA. There's some benefits and some issues with that. The VRDA requires a minimum of 7 positions. All of the positions have to be filled by residents of the city. I think they have to be registered voters within the city. I believe there are 4 eligible members on the DDA that could serve on the VRDA. So that would, if you decided to combine the two, you still have to make at least 3 additional appointments. There's been discussion about just letting VRDA go dormant. The issue with that is there are some existing tax abatement bonds that still need need to be dealt with. So there has to be signatory authority from that board. So I think we do need to fill the positions. I think Diana worked hard to get that taken care of. It just didn't happen before she had to leave. So I think this is down just for discussion. So, I mean, we could, if the DDA member, the 4 qualified members are willing to serve on both boards, what I would envision seeing is they would just meet one time. You know, they would have one meeting, they would adjourn from that meeting and go right into the next meeting. So they hopefully wouldn't create a lot of more workload for that, or at least time requirement for those members, but we still would need an additional 3 members.
Because we have limited activity, I guess, right now with VRDA, and yet we still need to have it because we have things that have to be taken care of.
Yes.
Like the tax abatements or something else that
Yeah,
might pop up. Yes. Councilman Warmoth.
So just for the public, can you briefly give an example of what the difference is between VRDA and DDA? Because I know that there's a lot of confusion. I've had a lot of people ask me.
And I have, my work with both authorities has been almost non-existent because I don't think VRDA has had much work since I've been working with the city. But the DDA has, I'm not saying they're a Main Street type organization, but their focus has been kind of like a Main Street type organization, you know, bringing activities and development toward your historical downtown area. The VRDA would be more akin to bringing commerce to an industrial park or to big businesses to relocate within the city. So just a little different focus. I mean, they're both to benefit the city, but their focuses are different.
Right. Thank you, because like I said, I know that there's a lot of confusion as to what the differences of those 2 boards are. How many serve on VRDA? Is it 7?
A minimum of 7 by state law.
And DDA is?
Well, there's more than 4, but there's 4 positions on DDA that would qualify to also serve on VRDA. The qualifications are different.
Okay, so how many seats total are on DDA?
Wasn't prepared
Is
for
it
that.
5?
I'm sorry. And then,
5, I think.
No, there are. There's 7 on
7.
okay, I figured it was either 5 or 7. So this is for VRDA, right?
Yes.
And you said that all 7 terms are expiring? We don't have staggered terms for that?
I think so, but at this point, they've all expired. There's been some openings for quite a while.
Okay, so they are technically staggered,
Yes.
but they've been open so that now all the ones that were open before were already expired, and now we've got additional that are expired, so all 7 seats.
At this point, all 7 have expired. So they're all holdovers.
So I know I'm asking a lot, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
What is the benefit of keeping them separated, and why not combine?
Some of the members on DDA would not be allowed to serve on VRDA. That's one issue. If all 7 members qualified for both, then I think that would be okay. There's some state requirements for a VRDA, so I think you have to keep that one in place at least while these bonds are still out there. I mean, once those are completed, maybe you can be just a DDA that also has some VRDA oversight. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but while those bonds are out there, I think you're still going to need a VRDA.
In DDA, what qualifies members
I think a business
is a business owner,
or
correct?
Yes.
Or city resident.
That's
Either
right.
you have to own a business.
So you
has
could
some
live
sort of-
anywhere, and if you had a business within the city, you could qualify for
So just
DDA.
within the city in general or in the downtown district?
I believe within the district.
Yeah.
That's what I always
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
is that it was in the,
Within the district.
within the downtown district. Okay, thank you. I think I'm done.
Well, I haven't been in a meeting for quite a while where this discussion was had about them still existing, the merging, the dormant, and everything else. I haven't heard anything in months,
You know,
but
we even discussed, making the council all members, but only one member of council can serve on VRDA at this point, so.
Councilman Carter.
What would be needed to combine the two? You said maybe combine them.
Yeah.
We wouldn't really combine them. They would still stay separate, but the
Yeah.
same members would serve on both.
Two different discussions, I believe. What I'm discussing is not officially combining them, but using the same members for both boards. There have been discussions about actually combining them, so you just had one body. I think that takes a little more work, but it probably could be done at some point.
But not all the members on DDA qualify for
That's
VRDA.
right. They do not. It's just like this. What I'm envisioning is just like this council serves as the public facilities board. So when we have a public facilities meeting, we have that meeting, we adjourn, and then we go into a council meeting, all in the same
Okay.
seating session. So
Didn't the VRDA used to be the IDA, Industrial Development Authority?
probably so.
It was back,
Yeah, probably so.
way back when I served my first time around, because I was on that board. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'm the. I'm
You're
sorry.
still on there, are you not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm the council representative on VRDA, and so I've been kind of talking to staff a little bit about I've been emailing Carol tomorrow, and Diana was emailing, and I know there was some back and forth with Stacy Blackman, the council for that, and what the qualifications were. So, it sounds like I think the biggest issue is that, and from my perspective at least, is that VRDA has the money. They've
That's
got
true.
a chunk of cash. DDA doesn't have the money, but they probably have they probably have the projects. And so, how do we basically find a way, mechanism for DDA to have access to VRDA's funds so that DDA can do their work program, essentially, while maintaining VRDA for the bond reasons, but also, just in case something does come about sometime in the future, I think. So that's been kind of my thing. I've always thought we can do like a joint commission or joint something, but I don't know. I know Stacy and Brian, and I think Kevin's been on his emails, and they're going back and forth on the possibilities. And I think this is probably the most recent version of is what Kevin's recommending, and so.
So at one time, Villa Rica Development Authority, we had a lot of things out there to do in the industrial park. It's pretty much full. Recently got an asphalt business out there, but in general, there's not much to do out there other than handle those tax abatement things that were done previously. However, a lot of things could be done maybe with smaller business, downtown. DDA, Downtown Development Authority, and so there's been a little bit more focus on, hey, is there a way to funnel money from VRDA, who has funds, through DDA, Downtown Authority, and do some things with small business? Not just, since at this point, we don't have the property to push a lot of more industrial at this point. But anyway, so that's where we are. I'd be interested in getting, let's communicate more after this meeting and have some sort of plan. I don't know, because when we deal with, the development authority usually involves the county, the chamber in on that and everything, because this recruitment for industry often crosses the city lines and deals with Carroll Tomorrow and the county as a whole. Because when you bring in a lot of jobs, it impacts the entire region, not just downtown per se, like DDA. Anything else from council? All right, we'll move on to item, that was discussion only, so there'll be no action one way or another. Item number 5, development regulations update to require utility availability statements.
All right.
This is important.
I think we had a long discussion about this recently at our work shop. I was about to call it a retreat. And we've been sort of discussing this since we enacted the moratorium. So what you have before you is basically the same ordinance we had at the workshop. At the time of the workshop, I didn't have it plugged into our ordinances, so it didn't have numbers associated with it. But we've included it in the developmental regulations, where same place that talks about the permitting processes with the city. So this would require, before permits are issued, that developers or owners obtain a statement from the utilities director that ensures that there's adequate sewer and water availability for whatever project they're asking permits for. So what you see in black is what's already in the code. Blue is new. Red is strike-throughs. Not many strike-throughs, mainly just additions. The strike-throughs are mainly the capacity letters are going to be good for 12 months, and there was some inconsistencies about that in the code. Not sure that we've caught all of them, but I think we've caught them at least in the development regulations at this point. So just made it consistent that these capacity letters are good for 12 months.
Which encourages them to move dirt and start doing something.
Yes.
And not hold on to some sort of approved capacity that could go into years while other developments are coming up at the same time.
That's right. It helps the city just plan and know what we can serve. And
Any questions from council? Because we discussed this need pretty thoroughly during our all-day work session.
and with this, that would allow the moratorium to just expire.
All righty. Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 4? Okay. Community Development, ABL-05-25, San Andreas, Villa Rica LCC. This will require a public hearing, so we will do that next Tuesday evening, the hearing itself.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Whitney
Good
Cox,
morning, Ms.
licensing
Cox.
specialist.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
No problem. The first application is an alcoholic beverage license application for San Andreas Villa Rica LLC, located at 103 Villa Rica Parkway, Suite 200. It is the new Mexican restaurant there in the new public shopping center. They are applying for a pouring license to pour malt beverages, wine, as well as distilled spirits. And they have followed all the processes and procedures, and they're already actually operating. They have a valid business license, so this will just be the license for them to add the alcohol.
Ended up being there last night for the first time. Very cool interior decor they have.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. Any questions from council? The hearing will be next Tuesday. So at this point, they have their state license, I'm assuming. Is it just us that's left? So they're open, but they can't actually serve alcohol?
So
Yeah,
yes,
is that the way?
they're open. They have their business license. The state will wait on me to prove that they've obtained the local alcohol license before they issue the state license. But they have applied for their state.
I see, okay. Anything else? All right, we'll see that on Tuesday. Item number 2 under Community Development, ABL-06-25, Quick Trip Corporation. This will also require a public hearing next Tuesday.
This is an alcoholic beverage license application for Quick Trip Corporation located at 650 Highway 61, currently operating as a gas station or convenience store rather with gas pumps. They hold a valid alcohol license as well as business license. They are going to be doing a management or agent change, so the new licensee has to be approved by you all.
Any questions from council? All right, we'll see this next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, RA-01-25, ANX-01-25, and ANX-02-25, rezoning and annexation of Highway 61 and South Van Wert. This is the Avamore PUD. This will also require a public hearing. Mr. Daniels, good morning.
City Council, Madam Mayor, my name is Sean Daniels. I'm the Planning and Zoning Administrator here with the city. And you've all already are very aware of these 3 items. You've seen them before. Planning and Zoning Commission have voted on them as well. And I do have a PowerPoint, but I don't want to get too technical in the weeds. You're already aware, so I'll just try to do like a gloss over history and as well as the developer. So Avamore LLC, or Avamore Georgia LLC, and Atlas Development is seeking a annexation and rezoning for 2 properties. The first property is located off of South Van Wert. It is 182.46 acres. It is currently zoned agricultural. And the second property is off of Hickory Level Road. It is 32.06 acres and it's currently zoned conservation use. The applicant is seeking a rezoning to rezone the annex properties to planned unit development to add the Technology Park Overlay District on top. There is a portion of the South Van Wert property that wants to remain in Carroll County, and they are going through a parcel split at this time. A little bit of background involving these properties. So in 2028, Avamore project located at 555 and 63 Goldworth Road was approved. A proposed development, planned unit development for 200 single-family units as well as 300 multifamily units and a senior house component. In 2020, the applicant proposed to increase the units 250, and that is for the single family, as well as 325 for the multifamily component. In 2021, the City Council did approve an addition of 290 units of 55 and above senior living. The applicant then returned yearly to get a extension on the project's zoning approvals. In September 2024, the applicant filed an extension and alteration to add industrial, that is industrial medium density I2 for permanent uses for the planned unit development. Planning and Zoning Commission did deny it, and the applicant then withdrew the application. Recently, City Council did amend the text amendment for a Technology Park Overlay District, and this district allowed permanent uses such as corporate campuses, research and development, as well as data processing. Currently, the property lacks use and is undeveloped. The comprehensive plan does prescribe this area as suburban village, which promotes both commercial and residential uses. Some questions were discussed during the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting about the project's uses, such as power and water. Now, power is in the county, and it will not be water is serviced by the county and not with the city. The applicant is still trying to work out a deal with Georgia Power and has not furnished a site plan yet. City staff does recommend for approval with conditions, and the three conditions is, the first is water utilization, sewer capacity, and conveyance are to be agreed upon in a way of a development agreement with the city. The residential component must be removed from the PUD, and the affected property must adhere to the Technology Park Overlay District development standards and permit uses. The last condition is a minimum 100-foot buffer shall be separated the subject property from all residential districts. The Planning and Zoning Commission did vote to approve these three items unanimously, but they also had alternative conditions they wanted to add. And if you all will allow me, I will go ahead and read those as well.
Please do, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So the first condition is a 200-foot buffer between residential properties as well as properties containing any residents. A 300-foot buffer between ground equipment such as generators, noise emitting devices, and cooling systems, unless it is screened behind the Data Park Center building. Structures must be built at least 2 feet above the flood elevation for the property. Now, the Georgia standard is 1 foot, so Planning and Zoning Commission is proposing to double that. Lastly, a traffic study must be conducted by the applicant. And if you don't have any further questions for me, we did receive a updated DRI report, and our engineer/interim community development director, Mr. Mark Till, can read those comments.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Marchman?
What is explaining water unification? That means two different people gonna get together? Or
Can you repeat that? You said
where you say water is on? When you say water unification, what are you saying?
It's water utilization. So it's the way the water gets dispersed and utilized. So that will be in really an agreement with the city as well as the developer, as well as conveyance, how the sewer and water will be dispersed from the development and then get to our treating plants.
Councilman Carter?
Okay, I got a couple. This came before us several months ago when we actually approved it, the annexation and the rezoning. Why is it coming back to us now?
Yes, it was some procedural issues on staff's level. So one of the items was up for litigation. So we were advised to go ahead and refile this, and while it's under litigation, so barring any new information, we have already conducted this process.
Okay, second question. On the water, are they gonna have a reuse plan, so we don't have to keep supplying water? Are they gonna have a reuse plan on that?
Yes, sir. So if you don't mind, I think the applicant is here. I would like to defer that question to
Okay.
them.
Mr. Carter, back to your first question. The ownership's changed since that first application, so it is a new application. It's not exactly the same. It's close, but the lower parcel is different. The first time it came before you, there was a carve out for residents. The person that originally owned the property wanted to stay in the county, and he carved out his residence. This current application is a little different. It splits the parcel so that there's no argument that there's an island created. I think the applicant can talk about that, but it's a different application. The applicant had several options of dealing with the challenges that were filed, and this is the route they decided to go, was to go through the process again.
Okay, change in ownership basically is what caused it to have to come back.
Well, and
They wanted something different.
it is a little different. It's a lot of it's the same. It's a different applicant. It's a different application. And this was a way of addressing some legal challenges that were raised.
And so the annexation we did several months back does not apply, or?
Well, it's that one is being challenged in court. So,
Okay.
I would not be able to give them a letter, a zoning compliance letter, or we haven't submitted that annexation to the state while that challenge is pending.
Okay.
Any other, yes, Councilman Warmoth.
So you said that this is a new applicant because it has changed ownership? When did that happen?
The property sold, the applicant will have to answer specifics about when those deeds were filed, but I believe the ownership of the actual land has changed.
So this would be the second time since 2018 that it has changed ownership?
I think the original annexation application was in the name
Mr. Davis?
of there were two, and they were both in the name of the people that own those parcels. They've sold those parcels. So as far as the annexation, those parcels have changed hands once that I know of that are relevant to this. You're talking about the Avamore that's been in the city, I believe, changing hands.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, we're just talking
No,
about two different
I
things.
apologize. I mixed up exactly what it was.
Clear. I'm talking about the annexation portions. Those
So
have
just
changed.
the annex portions.
right.
And
Mr. Davis was-
I'm sorry, I'm asking, Mr. Drummond, what you're saying is that the annexation parcels are the ones that have changed ownership recently?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council for Mr. Daniels? Because we can have the applicant come up and clarify some of the other issues. Maybe we can get some of those questions out of the way before next Tuesday evening, although we will be revisiting this because of the public hearing. All right, thank you. The applicant's here. Y'all come up.
Good morning. Brandon
Good morning.
Bowen, 15 South Public Square, Cartersville, Georgia, and I represent Atlas Development, which is the data center developer.
Okay. Is there anything you want to clarify as to what's been, questions that were asked already that are more pertinent to you being able to answer them?
Sure. So, beginning at the end, your question in regards to the ownership change. So, the owner of the property now is the data center developer. So they were involved in the project when it was before you last, but they own the property now. The reason for coming back, Mr. Drummond answered that, I think, but just, it's the challenges that were made to the first decision were procedural in nature, and those are procedures that are pretty easy to correct, and so that's really why we're here. As far as a question about water, so this property has not been fully engineered yet, and I would expect if the council approves, and the next step will be working with engineers to fully design the project and then work with also the county's water authority to determine water availability, and then we would bring back to the city council a engineered site plan and development agreement that would address all those issues once we have more information.
So basically, if it helps people understand this, that even if council approves this next Tuesday, that's just the beginning of a whole lot of other approvals that have to occur. It doesn't make the thing happen. There's numerous other steps and things that have to be provided and agreed upon
That's correct.
between actually a number of entities, whether it be the water authority or conditions. There's certain conditions that are required here. I may have a question later, but it wouldn't have to do with you. Just in regard to how staff feels about what was put forth by the Planning and Zoning Commission and their desire to add some additional conditions, or in some cases, additional footage on the buffers, because I just want to make sure those people are protected that live around that area, that are residential. And I'm so sorry, what is your name?
It's Brandon Bowen.
Mr. Bowen. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Bowen? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Carter.
It was about the water, because that was one of the bones of contention last time this came before us. I think Villa Rica was going to supply the water then, but it come about from Carroll County. So I understand Carroll County is now going to supply the water, but in order not to tax the water system, they have systems for recycling that water and not having to use new water.
Yes, that is correct. The water can be reused water. It can be gray water. And sometimes it can be reused a number of times. Those are all things that we would figure out in the engineering process and working with the water system. But we would try to use recycled water as much as possible for the obvious reason that it's, it's less intensive and it's cheaper. And so
Yeah,
it's just a
water's
better
precious.
process.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Okay, thank you. Let me know if I can answer any other questions.
Council, any other questions for Mr. Daniel before we close this out and come back to it next Tuesday?
We want to have Mark bring up the Three Rivers DRI comments, just for the record.
Okay. Mr. Teal?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor and council. Mark Teal, city engineer, interim community development director.
That's better, thank you. There we go.
So Three Rivers Commission had the following comments on the DRI. And I'll briefly go over these. I think everyone received a copy of those, but they're in the middle of the document. So environmental and water considerations. This is a groundwater recharge. Part of it's a groundwater recharge area. That's not uncommon. And that is addressed in the Georgia Stormwater Manual. Villa Rica is encouraged to evaluate the water supply and consider cooling technologies, which that was discussed by the applicant just now. The site includes a National Register listed Williams Family Farm preservation. So efforts and mitigation strategies such as relocation, historic markers, or archival documentation should be considered. The next one would be transportation and safety considerations. So a traffic study has not been conducted, but one would be required prior to LDP. Agricultural land and soil considerations. So this area contains prime farmland soils, which are of statewide importance, classified by USDA and NRCS. Georgia ranks 4th in the nation for farmland loss, underscoring the importance of protecting agricultural land. Floodplain and hydrology issues, those would be addressed with LDP process. Water supply and aquifer impact. So the project is within the Piedmont and Blue Ridge crystalline rock aquifer system. So this is it runs from Georgia all the way up to Washington, D.C., and it includes Atlanta, it includes Washington, D.C., and us. So wastewater and hazardous material concerns. So yes, that would be, the applicant will be required to address any issues with the heavy metals or chemicals coming from the discharge from the data center. And then stormwater management and conservation, that goes back to the floodplain. So that would be a requirement part of the LDP process. There is a perpetual conservation easement held by Chattawa Open Land Trust, and it's an adjacent property, and it says that extreme care must be taken near this boundary to prevent damage to its protected environmental features. which essentially is no different than any other property. We would make sure that, you know, they're not going on to somebody else's property, or this property is not affected. And that's a summary of the notes from Three Rivers.
And for more information, the whole expansive report from Three Rivers is attached in the agenda packet and is available not only to all of us, but any citizen that wants to pull it up
Yes, ma'am.
with the attachments. Any questions for Mr. Teal? 43 pages long. It's extensive. Thank you. Ms. Holman, anything to add? Okay. All right, Human Resources, Ms. Lanford, item C, 457B, retirement plan changes.
Good afternoon, Tiffany Lamford, HR Director. I am bringing before you a few changes that we would like to make to our 457 retirement B plan. 457B retirement plan. We are in the process of moving the record keeper from John Hancock to Empower, and this is an optimal time to make any kind of plan changes like this. So I've attached a sheet that details what was in our current plan and what the proposed changes are. So I can read through each one of those if you want me to, or however you would like me to do it.
I don't recall how long they
Summarize?
are, but
Okay.
something that gives at least a clear understanding of
Sure.
what we're doing,
Okay.
what the changes are.
So our current plan document doesn't offer a Roth option. So this new plan with Empower would offer the participants a Roth option. We currently don't allow part-time employees to contribute. They have to work more than 30 hours, and we were changing that to allow part-times to contribute, but they will not receive the match. Only full-time receive the match. But we figured part-time employees should be able to take advantage of saving some money as well. The matching formula in our current document was listed as discretionary, even though we had outlined it as we'll match what they contribute half up to 3%. That was not laid out in the plan document, so now it is. The vesting schedule, previously the vesting was immediate. So they were 100% vested from the day that they signed up. And we changed that to a 5-year graded vesting. So you get 20% worth of vesting each year until 5 years, and you're 100% vested. And this would only be going forward for new hires. All employees currently enrolled would still be 100% invested. And then the forfeiture balance. So this is if someone leaves prior to that 100% vesting, the employer contributions would come back to either reduce our contributions or pay any plan expenses. The trustee designation, so on our current plan, it is our former city manager. Going forward, we would not name a trustee, we would just name Empower as our custodian. That lightens the liability a little bit. Currently, we do not allow loans to be taken out on the participants' money that they have held there, and going forward, we would like to allow them to take loans for emergency situations, for hardships. And then again, with the in-plan Roth options, we don't currently offer any kind of Roth option, and going forward, there would be that option there for participants to do a transfer or a rollover into a Roth.
Any questions from council? Is anyone opposed to making this consent item number 5? All right, that'll be number 5.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item D, Parks and Recreation and Leisure Service. Good morning, Miss Ivy.
Morning, Mayor and Council.
Item number 1, facility rentals, rental fee increase.
Yes, ma'am. Tracy Ivy, Parks and Recreation Director. We brought this up at our recent work session, or workshop, I believe is what we call it. And we just wanted to bring this back before you for official adoption of our updated rental rates, and to actually set a rental rate for the new downtown gymnasium and the North Avenue facility. So we're just basically bringing this back to you for official approval. We feel like the greatest impact on this is going to be to generate additional revenue to better align with the true cost of facility operation and maintenance. So, just to kind of give you some perspective, last year we brought in over $66,000. To date, we're at 52.4. So this same time last year, we were at 37.3. So we're trending upwards in our rental volume. So with that, our utilities increase, our staff time increase. There's a lot of demand on our current staff to handle the frequency, the conversations with all the people. There's a number of steps in the process to rent a facility. Another impact is going to allow us to fund a staff person to better monitor our rental. It manages the maintenance needs and keep those things more timely. And so that is not a new position. It's just a current position that is already funded. We're just going to shift that role to handle these rentals. So we're just asking for approval.
So this is everything from people coming in that want to rent the football field or a
Yes, ma'am.
pavilion or the
Right.
basketball courts and all that type of thing.
Anything that we rent, which is Powell Park, the Civic Center, the new downtown North Avenue venue, athletic fields,
Just giving people an idea of whether it's a pavilion for a party, that this involves all those type of things. And I guess this will help us maintain them better. And if somebody's shifted over, to kind of keep an eye on that things aren't torn up when they're being used.
Exactly.
All right, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Councilman Carter?
Okay, since this is probably going to be a consent item, would you please review on here, it's about a dozen changes that you presented to us. Would you please review that for the public?
Certainly, yes. Our current daily rate for the Powell Park rental facility is $150. We're going up to $300. Our current rate for the Civic Center is $300. We're going up to $450. Our current rate, we've actually just been charging people the same for the downtown venue because we already were charging $300 at the Civic Center. Most closely related to that in terms of size and space. But we're going to increase that to $500. And the predominant reason for that is because it was recently renovated, number one. And number two, it has a full-service kitchen. And our other facilities don't have that. So it's a little nicer, a little more upscale. So we're increasing that to $500. Our gymnasium, Gold Dust Gymnasium, is currently at $300. That's remaining the same. Again, we were charging $300 for the downtown gym just because we already had a fee structure in place. That's going to remain the same. And we're increasing our hourly rate for our gym rentals to from $30 to $35 an hour. We are maintaining our $200 security deposit, which is a refundable deposit, and all the other rentals are remaining the same. We compared our rates against other agencies and municipalities in the area, Carroll County, Carrollton, Douglasville, and where we needed to stay, where we are, we stayed, and where we felt like we needed to increase, we did so.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 6? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item E, Villa Rica Public Library. Dr. Lynn? Library Advisory Board Constitution and Bylaws Update.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'm just bringing some small housekeeping items. It's been since 2018 since the Library Advisory Board, reviewed their Constitution and bylaws. They wanted to make a couple of just small changes, mostly about terms and appointments. So I'll just read those. A former trustee who previously served their full terms to their limit can reapply for a board position after 1 year. And the other language that was added is members should contact the board's designated contact person if they are unable to attend a meeting whenever possible. That's it.
Not very controversial. Any questions from council? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 7? Thank you. And as Ms. Holman comes up, I probably should take note of this, that she has stepped up, thankfully, aside from being the CFO, to being our interim city manager as Ms. DeSanto left until we can get someone in place. So thank you for doing that. Finance. Hang
Okay.
in there. Okay.
Here are the budget amendments. Some of them, or two of them, we actually discussed at our workshop this past Monday. The first one is the Gold Dust Park. For pickleball courts, the pavilion and resurface our existing tennis courts. We actually had money that was approved in the current budget for some of this, but we've scaled it back. I think you can see that we had previously said to convert the tennis courts to 8 outdoor pickleball courts and correct drainage. So we had some funding that was already there for new pickleball lighting and everything. But after looking at the landscape of the park and seeing what we could do, it was presented at the workshop that we would use that funding and look at it from a new perspective, with the Gold Dust having 6 new pickleball courts, fencing, lighting, posts, net systems, sidewalks, and landscaping for $250,500. A 20 by 60 pavilion at Gold Dust, the restroom and concession facility, as well as resurface and paint the existing tennis courts. So the tennis courts would remain, and we would just add the pickleball courts. So again, this is no impact to the budget. Funds were already placed from the Carol Splost for this project, so this is just us maneuvering and shifting the money around from savings also that we've had from some other projects that have become or came under budget. The next item is the downtown gym parking expansion, adding additional 15 parking spaces. Again, the same thing with this. We had money in the budget from some savings or some projects that we didn't feel like that were needed to be done. So this would be $78,810 from existing funds out of the general fund capital fund to expand our downtown gym parking. The third budget amendment is the supplemental funding. In addition to the regular annual LMIG money, we actually receive supplemental funds from GDOT. We received $269,553 this year. Some of that is going to go toward the resurfacing of Church Street. Is that correct? Church Street, yes, Church Street. And then we'll get together with Hal and Mark to determine where we could use those other funds. And the last budget amendment is the hotel motel product development for downtown parking. As you know, we collect hotel motel funds, and we have to use a portion of that for what they call product development. We've had money in fund balance that we were kind of waiting on a large project to be able to apply those product development funds. And so part of the repaving of the parking lot and the fencing, we charged to product development. And it is coming out of the hotel motel fund balance, but it's applicable and acceptable form of using for project for using for product development. So this is just $84,766 of product development funding in order to cover the downtown parking lot, paving, and fencing.
So hotel motel tax, when it comes to product development, is more like brick and mortar, something hard. It could be art. It's something physical.
Correct.
And so I'm assuming that the reason we can use part of that with the parking here has to do with the amphitheater, our downtown events, and it helps those amenities when people come into downtown to attend those things.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Okay.
And we didn't charge all of it to product development. We just portioned it out, and we thought, okay, it would be good to go ahead and have the resurfacing and the fencing to be the portion that we would charge to product development.
Well, it's a really nice addition back there and will assist us. Any questions from council?
Thank you.
Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 8? Well, believe it or not. Yeah, believe it or not, that was the last item. We're like on a record here. I see applauding coming from the back of the room. Silent applauding. Okay, I'll review the consent agenda. If I miss anything, just let me know. Number 1 is the qualifying dates for the general election. Number 2 is the annual, I forgot what that's called, but we got to do it annually.
It's the city clerk.
Yeah, where the city clerk is the election superintendent. Item number 3 is the GMA District 4 officer ballot. Number 5 is the development regulations update on utility availability. Oh, 4, yes, 4. Number 5 is the retirement plan changes. Number 6 is the facility rental fee increases. And number 7 is the Library Advisory Board bylaw update. And number 8 are the budget amendments. Anyone see anything else? All right. So those will be our consent items. That's going to make a big difference on Tuesday. And we are, unless there's anything else from council or management or the attorney, all right, we are.